Question for you. Is it more important to have true beliefs or good reasons for your beliefs? Should you believe what you are told, or should you always verify? Is it okay to question those with authority, like your parents or, the mayor of your town? That's what we'll be discussing this week on Philosophy Friday. Hey philosophers, I'm Jonas, and this is Philosophy Friday, the channel where we ask big questions and include everyone. Don't forget to check out the question for next week so you can be part of the conversation. Today's question: is it better to have true beliefs or good reasons for your beliefs? At first glance, this might seem like a trick question. After all, isn't the ideal to have both? We want to believe things that are true and have solid reasons for believing them. But life doesn't always make that so easy. Sometimes people hold true beliefs for bad reasons, and other times people believe something based on strong evidence only to later discover they were wrong. So, which matters more, the truth of our beliefs or the justification behind them? Let's consider an example. Imagine two people, Alice and Bob. Alice and Bob are walking and they come to a bridge. Alice believes that the bridge is unsafe because she saw a black cat cross it and thinks that's bad luck. Meanwhile, Bob carefully inspects the bridge and sees no obvious structural issues, so he believes it's safe. If the bridge actually collapses, Alice had a true belief, but for a bad reason. Bob had a false belief, but based off reasonable evidence. So who had the better position? Some philosophers, like pragmatists, argue that justification is really what matters. If we only care about true beliefs, we might end up holding random or lucky truths without understanding why they're true. The process of reasoning, examining evidence, questioning assumptions, and thinking critically helps us refine our beliefs over time. A well-justified but false belief can still be useful because it keeps us in the habit of reasoning well. On the other hand, truth-focused philosophers might say that justification is only a means to an end. At the end of the day, what we believe should match reality. Imagine a doctor prescribing you a medicine based off of well-reasoned but ultimately false beliefs about how the drug works. Would you rather they had a lucky hunch that it actually worked, or a detailed theory that turned out to be wrong? And then there's Gettier problems, which challenge the idea that knowledge is simply justified true belief. Imagine you check the time on a clock and it says it's 2 o'clock p.m. You form the opinion that it's 2 p.m. Unbeknownst to you, the clock actually stopped working yesterday, but purely by coincidence, it is actually 2 o'clock. You had a true belief, and you even had a good justification, but something seems off. Your belief, even though it was true, is justified based off of a faulty tool. So, do you know what time it is or not? One wonders if my belief that you're subscribed and you've hit the like button is justified. I'm going to choose believe you have. Back to our question. Is it better to have true beliefs or good reasons for our beliefs? Let's see what our community has to say. One user writes, "This is a bad question, undermined by the examples you use. You are asking about motivation for belief, and then come up with two examples that are both provable. Your point is a self-defeating argument, therefore a bad one." Editor Jonas here. Thank you for your feedback. I admit that when I recorded this question, I could have come up with better examples. However, I still think it's a question that's worth asking. I also think that I've come up with better examples in this video. What do you think? Russ R. says, "Tricky question. I believe both. For things that are provable, I think they should be true beliefs. However, I think there are many things in life that are not necessarily provable, or at least not yet. In these cases, your beliefs are based on your experiences, but we should always be open-minded and, when presented with provable truth, be able to accept it." Thank you so much for your comments. Perhaps it's the case that most things that are true will be things for which you have good reasons to believe them, but that isn't always the case. So for me, I lean toward the idea that justification is key. Truth matters, of course, but if we don't have a reliable process for getting there, then we're just guessing. And if we rely on lucky guesses, we might end up with a few true beliefs, but no real way to separate them from false ones. I think that most scientists would agree with this. No one has ever said that everything science says is true. In fact, good scientists find ways to disprove previously held beliefs. Does that mean that their new theory is true? Maybe, and maybe not. What's important is that it's better than their former belief. Thanks for watching, and keep questioning. So what do you think? Is it better to have true beliefs or good reasons for your beliefs? Comment below with your thoughts. And if you like this video, join our conversation for next week about lie detectors on screen now.